born in China.
Oh, okay.
And
I don't know.
went to school in China because my
In
parents,
Chengdu.
my parents taught at the West China Union University.
Oh,
They were
wow.
both missionaries. They taught there, and we lived on the campus.
Yeah.
So we had a lovely life, to live on a university campus.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And they had a very important animal, a farm animal,
Oh.
because the man who was in charge was a very active and full of ideas. So he was the most active person. So he managed to allow his cows were allowed to graze on the football field, the students' football field. Of course, they were cleared away when the students wanted to play football, but the rest of the time it was the grazing center for the cattle. This is the middle of the campus, the university campus, with cows.
You've been here for much of the last century, but you did take large chunks in Canada and also in England, or small chunks in England.
The thing is, I was here first because I was born here.
Yeah.
Then I was here second because I became an anthropologist, and I lived up in that region between Tibet and China. I wanted to be an anthropologist, and I was going to be in a Tibetan area, so I thought, well, I know enough Chinese to get around. I never carried a camera around, I just talked with them. Not in the modern era. They thought all sorts of things about cameras, that the camera could steal their spirit. So I never wanted to make them uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I have the other advantage, I
That
think.
you had more trust.
I think that I was more accepted into, I went and lived in their homes with them. I didn't have a tent outside and interviewed them. But I just was a boarder in the home of one of the people that lived in this village. So I ate with her and whatnot and paid my board. And I must say that's the only time in my life I've ever dreamt of meat.
Isabel, your sons were all born in Beijing?
Yes, they were all born here.
Did you go to school in Beijing?
They were born here.
You're like Chinese.
Yes, well, you see, my mother went to mission school in Sichuan,
Yeah.
and then continued her education in Canada. And her idea was that if we were going to be in China, she was going to ensure that her children would all have Chinese as their first language.
In connection with the Jewish thing, there are two things. Mum, Dad, being Jewish, wanted to marry this Gentile woman, and the family did have some problem with it.
Oh, really?
Oh, absolutely. So then, what could you... No, I'm saying Dad's family had...
Let me tell you why our family had no trouble. Because I was actually working outside Tianjin. But he used to call on my parents every week and carry on very interesting conversations. Here's a young man talking to these middle-aged people and occasionally giving a nice gift. They gave a little silver, he thought it was a little silver teapot because they knew it was a wine pot. And they were, I did not believe in drinking spirit.
Yeah, right. Isabel, there's a story about that scroll, isn't there? The poster that
is a historic poster. It was the one that was printed up in the northeast and brought down by Lin Biao and the Liberation Army into Beijing to be sold on the streets.
In 1949.
1949, the grandchildren kept saying, who is this? It's Zhou Ye Ye. And who is that? That's Mao Ye Ye.